My name's Jay Essex, and kind of hard to. I don't like talking about myself, but I'm just a little different. I see things, feel things, know things. Everyone has metaphysical abilities. Mine are just really strong. I'm aware of things that other people aren't aware of yet. I can see things that they're not able to see at the moment, and I've always been about taking care of everything I love, and I pretty much love everything. When people are getting aggressive towards others, I don't have any part of that, but other than that, I do what I can for everyone.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the extraterrestrials. In particular, I guess maybe the Greys under McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
That's
Uh,
not like that movie, is it? With the guy with the fingertip, no, okay.
so, what do you
Okay.
call those beings?
Actually, Serpoians is what 1923 there was a crash down here in the U.S. It had to do with some light duty craft that had Serpoians on it, and some other folks that um, are very close to them, to the planet Serpo. That's the name they gave the U.S. government. Um, 1934, there was a pretty big issue with them coming in. Of course, everyone knows about Roswell 1947, but there was about 7 or 8 issues going on this planet before that happened. These lighter craft were literally having issues maintaining flight and uh, any kind of power level with when they were hit with radar. Excuse me. The radar was messing them up. Also, one time they were actually hit by 2 bolts of lightning, and that forced them to the ground. And then we found out about them, and then of course the first thing is the military got out there and turned this thing into a nutcase. Um, but the Serpoians are from the planet Serpo. That's the name they gave us. And 1926 is the first time we actually had that information. Uh, they're the ones that are down there, along with a large group of reptilian. Most of them are uh, Anunnaki, but there's reptilian folk from other planets, other races. Uh, there's over 1,000 Anunnaki down there, and there's over 1,000 Serpoians, what we call the Greys. These Serpoians are being held captive as well as the reptilian. They were conned into coming to the Earth. Some of them actually were brought in as slaves. They were captured outside, drugged, brought in here. But once they get them down into the ground, they're literally the doors closed above them, and they're stuck. They can't get out. And there have been they've been dying and also being born in captivity. It's been going on for a long time. Area 51, I'm not seeing too many captives there at all. They're keeping it mostly clean. There's some reptilian, some insectoid type folks down there doing research, and it's very nonchalant, as a matter of fact. That's funny. There's 34 levels down there from underneath it, from level 3 to 34. They're doing research and stuff. Now, having said that, there are more levels going down. It goes down to level 57. 58 is something that was being built and abandoned a long time ago. And they're just like storage, empty. There's not much going on there anymore. The Dulce base is real. There's a whole lot of stealth fighters over there. You have some of the. There's a total of 14 different craft that come in and out. I'm trying to see where that place is. I'm getting 2 references. One like the desert around whatever Arizona, California, somewhere around there, and there's something related to them that's in the water. It comes out the California. Um, Where's this place located?
I believe
The
it's
base is in the
Dulce
desert?
is in New Mexico.
Yeah,
Near
that's in the
Taos,
desert.
perhaps.
Yeah, and there's when you go down in there, it's something that comes out. It goes like underneath L.A. and there's a shuttle that comes out, and it literally goes out into the ocean. That way they can get out, move out there.
Some even claim that there's a submarine base underneath, like
Well,
in California.
when they come out, these little shuttlecraft, whatever they are, like a subway system, they literally go in there and come out. They come out in the ocean. That's what I'm saying. It's underground. It's under L.A. and it comes out in the ocean, and that's literally how they take off and go run around down there. There's a few bases, 3 bases off of the U.S. coast. Anywhere from 100. One of them's about 150 miles out. That one's a little bit north of San Diego and 150 miles out into the water, and then there's 2 above it that are about 250 miles out.
And is that part of the Montauk system of bases, or is that
That's ancient terminology. It's not used by anything.
what about the facility underneath Camp Hero? Is there anything going on there at Montauk Point, New York, Long Island?
Next to nothing. A little bit of storage, spider webs.
Okay.
Abandoned.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these trip seats. I know you mentioned earlier that they captured these UFO craft, and allegedly they took the chairs, the navigational chairs from the craft, turned them into trip seats.
That's what they were used for. But they've been building them and just using them for what they want. That council that was out in Saturn, they literally all had their trip seat they sat in, and they literally felt, in their own minds, the way they felt when they went into the heads, they considered them thrones. They considered themselves the Almighty Council.
And what do these trip seats look like? And like what materials they're made of?
Okay, there's on the better ones, there's some real shiny chrome like tubing. It's not chrome. On the other ones, it's not shiny. They're older models, are kind of beat up. I swear, it's just like getting a new car in an old car. But that council in Saturn, that was in Saturn, in that little city over there, if you were to take a barber seat that reclined and you doubled the size, but there's a lot of pipes that go running back and forth that actually run energy through it. There's some fluids that run through there from time to time. Some of those seats, they actually have small needles that come up in the back of the headrest and go into your head, and that's where the green fluid comes out, and that's what has the nanites and everything in it. That's why they actually have it green. So when you see the green, those people down there, when they see the green fluid, they know to stay away from it, that they don't want the nanites in them, or they know they're about to get them. Like poor David Icke when he got hit so hard so many times.
Yeah, well, somebody allegedly, I don't know if she saw a future timeline, but she saw me being interviewed, and I had I injected myself on the air with some looked like a green goo. I don't know. Of course, it might have been a parallel reality, but
no, you've been with them. There's that one place. I don't know if it's Mediterranean or something like Costa Rica or something. I don't know. Where there's
perhaps near the Bahamas, because you mentioned that.
There's a base down there. When I get Costa Rica is just like that kind of temperate climate, or better than temperate climate. And you've been down there. You have no memory of it, but you were down there. You were down there when they were taking your DNA out, so that they could start using it to start making some super soldiers. When they find anyone that's got source and the person is compliant, then for them it's a major league bonus, because you just wanted to know what was going on, so you didn't really resist. But when they see the DNA and it's glowing, that yellow gold color, they get all excited. But then when they go to use it, they find out it doesn't transfer all the properties that they thought. The soldier itself doesn't become source.
Can you explain what source is for people who are confused?
Source is source spirit. The very first being, when it was made, when it just made through happenstance. That was the first source there ever was, and what it means is source is the source, the beginning point, where something starts. The source of a stream, the source of a good cake would be the recipe, whatever. As the first being was made, it later took some of itself and then released it, and then made some other complete parts of itself minus the negativity. But other than that, it had all the other frequencies. That makes it source, and it has all the frequencies that the first thing did, other than negativity. As a matter of fact, they found that the females that had source energy in them were incredibly awesome, protective but loving mothers, and very strong energy, able to put up with a whole lot more abuse than others. But also, source has power. They've known that for a long time. 10.572 million years ago here on this planet, we started coming down heavy. Source did coming down heavy in Atlantis, and ever since then, the reptilian, mostly Anunnaki down here, understood that source was around. The actual abilities of the Adamic race was incredibly powerful. The average body was 12-strand DNA, but they were telekinetic, they were telepathic, and then the reptilians wanted to have control of that DNA. That's been going on now for, like I said, over 10 million years.
Okay, well, let's go back to the trip seats for a moment here.
Mm-hmm.
Are those pipes the same thing as like fiber optic cables?
They're tubular. They can run energy. Fiber optics, there's something encased, like fiber optics encased in it. There's something going on there where it's coated with something. It has to be for the energy that runs through it. The silver tubing and all, that's got fluids in it. But the energy runs through the silver-looking tubes that actually have something like fiber optics, but it flows a lot faster.
Okay, I was told that one of these trip seats cost about $21 million, and that's mostly for the gold, silver, and platinum in them. Do you think that's an accurate representation?
They cost a lot because of what they are. What they're made of, it raises the price, but,
If like one of these underground bases ever get invaded, the first thing that they take out are the trip seats.
Yeah, and that's so they can, they want to keep those because that's what they use to spy on people. That's what they use to harass people. That's what they use to go into people's brains and feed them bad information. That's what they use to attack people. So it's like a primary weapon. If you're a mechanic and your house is burning down, you're getting, your toolbox out.
Well, how do you think these trip seats work?
It's easy, actually. When you put your head back, and it looks like a hairdryer thing, you can tell I got in one too long. No, what it does, it reads it reads your DNA for one thing, and it reads the electromagnetic force in your brain. And as soon as it has your DNA plus it reading the electromagnetic energy going through your brain, it combines the knowledge to start pulsing your brain, increasing your electromagnetic abilities. By increasing that power in your head, literally enables you to maybe triple, sometimes quadruple your metaphysical abilities.
So is that what they were doing to, you said David Icke and Andrew Basiago?
David Icke was being tortured. He was aware of some stuff, and then he started talking about it like a good man, and then he just got tortured.
And how many times was he in the trip seat?
3 times he was in a trip seat, real bad, getting beat up hard, and then the 4th time, it kind of fell away from that. They were trying to pick apart what they wanted to fix in his head.
Now, when you say torture, what was it like? Did they do like a virtual reality scenario?
They tear you down. It's like basic training when you're in the military, but this is different. They go right at your mind. They literally tear down any kind of thought process you have, and they start rebuilding you. It's almost like you're almost like a battling baby or something, when they go putting you through it. That's why I felt so bad when I took a look at him for the first time and I saw what he went through.
And is that like a virtual reality scenario? that they're going through in their own mind, like a dreamscape?
Yeah, but it's worse than that because they're in his head telepathically.
Okay.
So,
And what about Andrew Basaggio? He's been to the future, so he claims. But
well,
you
anybody can
said,
go. Every time someone tries to remember something, 2/3 of the time they're actually, astral projecting into the future. You can also remote view into the future through the scanner, but yeah, he's being fed some information.
well, he says he has a photo of him and Abraham Lincoln when he was a child. But it's very blurry. It's kind of hard to make out
Yeah.
anything. So I guess we'll have to take
Maybe
your
that
word
was
on
early
that.
Photoshop.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
kidding.
Okay. All right.
He does have some memories of having been running around, but it's like I tell anyone else, when you learn how to relax and flow into yourself, you can literally get yourself to the point where you just say, okay, I'm going to go to the last house I lived in off planet, and you will get a snapshot of what the house looked like. I've done it, and I was like, what kind of body did I have to sit in that seat? Weird looking table. So everyone has the ability to do some incredible stuff. The thing is that some of our not so good friends from space, and most of them are really cool and friends, as well as the governments that have learned from them, the problem children, so to speak, especially the Anunnaki here. People have abilities, and they know how to manipulate them and mess around with them, not control them, but to put a dampener on them if they want. Yeah, Anunnaki is one of the older forms of reptilian humanoid. The oldest is the Drakh. That was the first lives ever had was Drakh. Very strong energy. When the Drakh come into a room, you could have 500 Anunnaki. When 2 Drakh walk into the room, every one of them within seconds will shut up. And it's not so much out of fear as it is respect and also wanting to see what happens. The Anunnaki is the most prevalent form of a reptilian humanoid that we have here on this planet. What a lot of people don't know is that they're from the outer section, not the outermost, but the outer section of the Pleiades galaxy. So you can actually say they're Pleiadians. The image we have of Pleiadians, I don't have the name of the planet or anything, don't really want it, but they're tall, slender, usually whitish skin. They started mixing in a bit with the white Adamic race that was around Norway, in that area.
Okay. So what about this claim that the Anunnaki are from Planet X? Is there any truth to that?
I'll have to ask Y and Z. Yeah, it's no. What people are calling Planet X is usually what they call Nibiru, which is it's a solid object like a moon that is in a really weird elliptical orbit with our planet. It's never had life in it. They have used it for a base before, where as it goes elliptical, it get near a certain planet, and they could use it like a striking point or communications, whatever they wanted to do. They've used it in that manner, but other than that, no.
Okay. Do you think Planet X is hollow?
No.
Do you think Planet Earth is hollow?
No. Well, there's places where it's been dug in, but no, it's not hollow. I can tell you a lot about the magma that's in there, like from Atlantis sinking and everything else. The tectonic plates. Easy for me not to say. A lot of the crust kind of floats around a little bit. When you go through the crust, like the Anunnaki have been doing down here now, you have issues, and lava comes up, and things start melting. Global warming wouldn't even be happening if it wasn't for the fact that we have so many holes cut through the crust down into the magma by the Anunnaki, and of course the little subservience.
And is that what was going on the time of Atlantis with those pits you mentioned?
Yeah, the power pits, whatever you want to call them. Some of the folk down there went nuts. They wanted more and more power, and they were warned not to. So they kept drilling holes through the ground, and they kept the more power they ran through, that beam that goes down into the ground, the more power that came in, the larger they made it, the more they used it, the more heat build up, the bigger the hole would get. And next thing you know, Atlantis started breaking up. And even when it was breaking up piece by piece, there was 2 more pits built, one and then eventually another, and then finally it just sunk the whole place. Atlantis was mostly one huge continent, but there were some smaller islands. Atlantis is going to be rising up, coming through the surface and floating around. No, it will be cracking up, and rising up. But if you go into water, you're going to see some stuff going on. Some parts of it might come above water. I wouldn't expect it. Lemuria will. Islands in Lemuria are going to come up. Hawaii was and still is the capital of Lemuria. New Zealand was and is the southernmost tip of it.
Okay. Will we see ruins from when these?
Yeah, actually, things have been going on to make sure that you can. Enough of Atlantis is going to rise to where you're actually going to see some of the stuff that's going on. As far as ruins, they're pretty well beat up. That's a long time ago. But you will see some structures.
Okay, so how old? Let's go back to the Anunnaki again. How old do the Anunnakis get? And are there any good Anunnakis?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't really fully answer that. They're a type of human being. They're a type of humanoid being. Like anything else, there's good, there's bad. It's just that they're so aggressive that they're when they're more negative, it's more of an issue. They've been around a long time. When they're 100 years old, they're starting to, crawl. 800 years, 800 years is how old they can live when they're not, busy killing each other.
And what about humans? I mean, in the Bible, it claims that humans lived in excess of 1,000 years.
Oh, that's nothing. You wouldn't believe all the junk there is in the Bible.
So, like in the time, what about in the time of Atlantis? Did people live longer lives than they do today?
Yeah, honestly, lives were a lot longer. A lot of the races down there would live, and in Atlantis too, from 800 to 1,000 years. But the problem was, in order to extend life that long, the quality of life was not worth having. So they finally got shorter.
All right. So what other type of equipment are they putting in these underground bases? Other trip seats, anything noteworthy to mention about?
There's all kinds of stuff. They're developing it all the time. In Arkansas, the group down there, they have incredibly powerful weapons. They do a lot of weapons work. Some of it is plasma weapons. They do some very serious DNA research down there. Arizona, they're kind of like foot soldiers. They run paperwork as far as trying to keep things flowing, keep things organized. They're ahead of themselves, going nowhere. They think a little too much of their value as far as their group goes. Down in Florida, they do research. Out in California, they're a little more aggressive. And they also have to do a lot with transporting in California, transporting stuff off planet. A lot of it goes on underwater.
Well, maybe mention about those giant coffins, because you said they're transporting off planet.
Yeah, that's the Jesse Ventura actually came up with them with a picture one time. All they are is storage containers to put, depending on the size, 3, 4, 5 humanoid bodies. They're growing drones all over the place, and they're used for food. Anunnakis, black market, reptilian races. So they never have a soul or anything in them. They're never really brought to life. They just grow them. And then they just literally put them in these containers. They get beamed up into a cargo ship. It goes interdimensional, and then poof, takes off.
So what, do they actually cook these bodies and make a meal out of them?
Yeah, people eat. Some of the Anunnaki are, some of them are actually cannibalistic, although they're not so much like they used to be. But they do it.
You mentioned that there's possibly even a black market where they were taking live humans.
There is a black market, but it's been hit pretty hard a couple times.
Is that with Tyr or Raw-Tear-Eir?
No, they don't do that kind of shit.
No, they're the ones that stopped it. Was Sphere being Alliance?
Actually, it wasn't Tyr. but it was some other folks that are not the alliance, but it's like a federation. This alliance thing, that's not right.
You mean the alliance to what? The government?
The,
and
the alliance
sphere
that Corey
beings?
Good talks about is there's problems in there. 67 to 74% of the people that show up for those meetings are definitely an issue. They're not positive, not helping anything out. Anytime a triangular spacecraft is used to pick you up and take you somewhere, that's one of the Earth vessels, and that's the relative to the Anunnaki here on the planet. So that's a good sign of there being issues.
Can you explain how many of those triangular-shaped craft that the, I guess, secret space program, is that what you would call it?
Yeah,
Has?
there's 40 something, maybe 46, 47. Some of them are being built, maybe 43 running real hard right now.
Any ideas how much they cost?
No, they
It's
don't
pretty-
care.
they don't
just
care.
take more money.
They just print more money.
Yeah. Besides, the folks that build that stuff, they're slaves. They're prisoners. So
Well, and I'm glad
that cuts costs down.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you mentioned about a possible firefight in the Pacific.
Yeah, there will be in the Pacific and
Can
then
you- yeah.
later in the Atlantic.
Can you explain about that story at least? I guess I know you said there was going to be possibly triangular-shaped craft.
Yeah, what's going to happen is that the Earth's going to get shooken up down there, and then it's going to break loose the foundation of some of the buildings where they're actually where the prisoners are being kept and made to work underground, under the water. And at that point, what happens is they start having to come up, to take off. The triangular, what Corey Good calls the shuttlecraft, the Tier 3s or 4s, whatever they're called. They literally start flying over there immediately. Boom, they're out there and they start beaming some of the folks out, the high-end officials that were running these camps. Well, in these work camps under the ground, we have all these prisoners, our friends in space, our family. 98.1 to 98.3 or 4 average is the percent of all the craft in space. Not the atmosphere, but in space. They're family, friends. They've been helping us, living and dying with us for millions of years. But they've also been protecting us for a little over 1 million years now. So literally, they're going to come down and start beaming out all these wonderful people that have been made prisoners down there and, falsely imprisoned, just taken, shamboozled. And then they pull them out. And when they do, these triangular craft from, the Earth here to there's 10 governments that have them, they're going to go after them. They're literally going to want to beam the prisoner of war. The people that were running these camps, they want them. They want them to quote unquote take them to court. What's going to happen is the folks that are down here saving their prisoners, while the Tier 3s, whatever triangular ones are here, they're literally going to start fighting. They're going to blow a few of them up. They'll be floating in the for a little while, floating out around the Pacific. Somebody will have more than one person will catch this on video. It'll be posted all over the internet. Someone will take pictures of a few Anunnaki walking around on the shore around San Diego, towards the northern cliffs of California. As a matter of fact, not that far from where that Indian group was rebuilding their homes on a higher plateau. Because when this shift happens, it is going to make a wave. Besides that, later on, there's going to be an earthquake that goes all the way from the Golden Coast of Australia, underneath Hawaii, all the way to the southern section of California. And that's the thing that's really going to start bringing Lemuria up.
Yeah, I want to add something there because you
Sure.
mentioned the Indian group that's relocating to higher ground. I don't know the name of the exact tribe, but it is in Washington State.
Yeah.
And apparently they have a festival each year where they communicate telepathically with
Yeah.
the dolphins. They're shamans, that is.
Yeah.
And the dolphins told them that there's going to be a tsunami, I believe, in 2018 that wiped them out. So they're trying to get everything built above 100 feet in elevation.
Yeah,
They actually
and-
did get a grant from the government to rebuild their lodge.
Yeah, I think
and
it's
so-
cool. I think they're maybe they overstepped the height a little bit, but it was the right location for them. 2018 is when all the big stuff was supposed to happen, September of 2018, and that's been changed. But still, there will be some waves. There is going to be some ruckus, and what the heck? They have some nice high ground to live on.
Now, you mentioned in this firefight that there's going to be aliens possibly on the beach. Will people
The
have photos?
Anunnaki. Yeah.
Anunnakis.
There's going to be people literally made to be on the beach to take pictures of it.
So are they going to try to cover that up? Say it's CGI
Well,
or
sure they will, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be out there. There's going to be so many people that will have taken pictures from different angles, and it's going to be regular people. They'll take it on phones, phone cameras.
You think that will change the planetary consciousness, or you think people just
well,
not want to
people
believe
already
it?
know. They already understand there's life around, but when they see that, plus they see the firefight, there's going to be such an overload of information. People are going to say, okay, there's no way that's a hoax. Because when someone's going to make a hoax, they're going to take one event and do it. Now, when you see all this crazy stuff going on, it's like, okay, if that's a hoax, they better have made a movie out of it because they spent $1 million. Actually, more than that. So,
Now you mentioned that some of these people are going to get beamed out.
yeah.
But earlier you mentioned that chemtrails were depositing some kind of substance in the air
Chemtrails
to
take
stop.
all kinds of junk and put it and throw it into the atmosphere. There's carcinogens in it. There's small pieces of aluminum in it that actually can get on food if you don't wash it off. Then when you go to eat the food, literally it goes into your into your stomach, digested, goes into your blood, and it actually can start clogging up those small capillaries, or whatever you want to call them, in your brain. And that causes more than just headaches, some severe issues. Also, the main thing that started happening with the chemtrails originally was to, as our friends in space beam on and off, then literally they go subdimensional. And if they put some type of radioactive material in there, just some waste, and then have aluminum in it to actually, to intensify the effect of it, then you have some real issues. It can actually kill people when they're trying to beam in and out.
So would that affect the process of them beaming out those people in the Pacific war fight?
Oh no. That's out over the ocean. If you notice, those chemtrails, they just seem to mostly happen over cities, over land. That's kind of funny.
And what about HARP? What is that being used for?
HARP, multi-purpose, shake the ground, crack it up, punch holes in space. There's a type of HARP. The HARP system has been modified also, so it can produce a protective area. It's like a dome. It's not an energy field that something hits and bounces off of. What happens is when something goes through it that's biological, it crushes it through the inside.
Okay. And what does cell phone towers have some kind of nefarious purpose other than communication?
Yeah, I kept looking at the cell phone towers when I'd be driving by, and I'm like, I don't like you. I had so much other stuff going on, I couldn't take the time to look at it. And then I started seeing some other friends here. It's a reptilian race, and they had something to do with it. First off, cell phone towers, of course, microwave transmission cell phones. That's wonderful. But at the same time, they put out a low pulse frequency. As a matter of fact, if you check out cell phones, they go low pulse. That actually dumbs down your DNA. So that's part of it, is putting that out. But there's other frequencies now that are taking care of that. Now, besides that, they wanted to turn it into a soft HARP system that would put out a protective barrier. When you have a HARP system barrier put out, you can't beam anything in and out of it. That's how they protect stuff.
Okay. Now let's go back to something you mentioned about a Saturn base.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Well, right now it's a ghost town with some people coming in and out every once in a while trying to find, rummage around and kill whatever they can. It'll get populated again later. Everything in the solar system was done through a part of a city that was, it's like a hole that was smacked into Saturn, and then they put a dome over it.
Is this like on a moon, or is it just a space station?
It's like something to be on the moon. It's the same thing but on Saturn. There's about 1,400 people on there.
And you said you killed some of their people?
Yeah, when I went to look at him, and then Arrow, what's outside of me? It's like I'm just sitting my butt at chair at the house, but there's a reason why I have so many visitations, like Anunnaki Ambassador, all these other folks. The Resistance, it's kind of crazy what's going on. But I went up there just taking a look, and it was literally, I was like joining part of myself, Arrow, going up there to see what's going on, and then eventually they saw us, the fight started, and it's Arrow just kind of got a little bent out of shape about it, and it's Arrow's source is really strong. It's what I am inside, and just turned out to be a bit of a party.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman, a scholar, but other than that, we love you. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. How many bases do you think there are these underground facilities, I'm assuming, in the United States? What do you think that might be? I mean, one person is claiming about
that depends
2 per
on what
state.
you call military and everything, but I can tell you right now, you can say there's 25 of them that are involved in this shuttlecraft thing that are of importance, which is really weird. Those suckers are fast. And that's the same thing that's set up out in California. Except these little suckers can literally go go through a shuttle tube like a subway, and then poof, they shoot out, or like underneath LA, around north of LA, and just go right out into the ocean.
Yeah, so I guess like Henry Kissinger can have his clone up about in the surface while he's throwing about underground. Okay,
Old Henry.
So, do you think NASA knows about the secret space program? Or at least the officials within NASA, maybe high up officials.
Yeah, they know more than that.
So they're aware that it's a PR program. They're just
they're aware of something going on. They're aware of a pretty good bit of it, and they're really aware not to talk about it.
So what about SETI? Do you think they're picking up alien signals in Puerto Rico, like their listening station down there?
Talk about something that's dumbed down, just like the Hubble scope. It gets stuff all the time.
They're just not telling us.
Yeah, every time you see something on the Hubble scope, man, it's computer generated, clean. There's so much stuff going on, you can't see it. You do better looking at it through a telescope in your house, looking out into the night sky, than you would be to mess with the Hubble scope trying to find some of our friends flying around.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Corey Goode for a moment here, because
yeah, he's cool.
I know this is bringing up a lot of interest, at least online. And
Good.
you mentioned that his contact, this sphere being, I guess what's his name?
Raw-Tear-Eir, I think is what he calls him.
So he's a beautiful blue-looking avian.
Yes,
and
he's everyone's favorite canary.
So, but you said that you were able to look at his, I guess, not only at his energy, but his actual physical form, and it's a little bit different.
He's Tear's cool. He really is. I'm not making a joke out of him, but just goofing off about the image that they give for people to see. It's all telepathic. They're incredibly strong telepathically. Tear's an awesome, wonderful person. He's sourced inside, but they're insectoids. They're humanoid, but they're like an insect. Souls, whatever. We've all had lives in different bodies, and that's one of them. The only thing older than the antids, as I call them, is the Drak. He's awesome. They're wonderful people. I can't say enough nice things about them. And even though somebody could say they're not honorable, because for the only one reason that they're showing a different type of body than what they really are, you got to understand that the reason why they're doing it. People aren't used to. They have to accept the fact. Okay, there's life on other planets, because they're kind of pretty much ready for that. But then when you see an 8-foot tall insect, that people freak out. So they're trying to help everyone out by doing that. So.
Okay. Is Raw-Tear-Eir the same person that I was able to talk to?
Yep.
The entity named Tien?
Well, yeah. What you were doing through someone else, yeah. But
he
he's been to your house. I haven't told you that yet.
Well, he said he's 12. I invited him to my house, but he said he's 12 foot tall and he would tear up the floorboards.
Who told you that?
Tian.
He told you that himself, or someone told you that?
Well, that's someone else.
Yeah, because someone else told you. Because I didn't see him telling you that.
Oh, okay.
No, he's more like about 8 foot and a few inches. Depending on how he stands, 8'1" to 8'4".
Does he have like a crocodile snout,
No.
reptilian face?
No,
Okay.
he's one of the newer. I'd say newer antids, but they're so ancient. That's kind of
Well, what was he doing in my apartment, you think?
He was looking for your baseball bat. He's got this. He had a ball and a glove, and it's like, I'm going to complete this game here. No, he just popping in and check on you, see how you were doing. When you were involved in this Milab thing, when they were pulling your DNA out, he was there. He was part of it. And, he's, of course, broken away from that, but he was there to help. And then he did what he could, and then it was time to leave.
Okay. Do you think there are shapeshifters? Like, I guess, assuming reptilian shapeshifters.
The Anunnaki, some other reptilian races, if they consume enough DNA of another type of animal, there's a good chance they can actually make the body. And it's a fact that they've done it. I've talked to them.
No, I heard that a lot of reptilians, they genetically engineered pig DNA with human DNA so they could keep their, I guess it would be human form when they've shapeshifted.
Honestly, they've had some fluid for a long time that's actually synthesized. That as long as it has the DNA of that person in it, to be fine. They get something like shingles when they start having problems. But lots of times they can actually just drink human blood and they're fine. That's why, what's her name? Michelle Obama. Her and her friends get together sometimes and they actually get a wine glass and they drink blood. Of course, it comes from a plasma thing from our hospital.
Yeah.
And they really consider themselves macho reptilian, and it's whatever. She's got issues.
And you said that Michelle Obama was was Obama's handler?
Yeah, she is. She kind of keeps an eye on him, keeps things going. He knows it, and all he wanted was the fame. He wanted to be able to play fame. He's a very clean soul. He's a
like
spiritual traveler. Excuse me, 17% negativity and strong, light, clean, but he's having problems. Michelle's soul, she's 57% negative.
But wouldn't that cause conflict in their relationship?
Yeah, just like there is.
Okay, all right. Do you think Donald Trump might be our next president?
He very well could be. Got to see what happens. He likes to start stuff, and right now there's a lot of change going on everywhere. So he might be used to do it. See, the office of presidency is a joke. It's totally unnecessary, and all it does is try to glorify a person that's really a scapegoat anyway.
Well, do you think like the voting machines are rigged, or like Diebold?
Yeah,
machines?
whoever needs to win is going to win. But if the popular vote is really that much of a landslide one way or the other, they'd let the guy get elected and knock him off. Have him get in a wreck or something and try it again.
Okay. Do they have equipment to see who we were in our past lives?
Yeah. The Anunnaki have it here too. They have like scanners that actually read frequencies inside you of metaphysical energy. It's electromagnetic, so it's not that hard to do once you have the technology. And as long as they've recorded that energy in a body in the past somewhere, then boom, they got you.
So you said that I was perhaps Perseus and I killed
You
Medusa.
were Perseus. You were Percival. Yeah. You don't like the snake ladies.
Okay.
You're very mean.
Did Medusa actually have snakes on her?
No. She was. She had like a snake's tongue is the idea. She was very sharp and quick, and she never hesitated to have someone's head cut off. She'd look at someone and say, "Cut off his head." I'm tired of looking at it. She's nasty, mean, aggressive.
That was like Alice in Wonderland said said off of the heads.
Oh yeah.
I guess he
The
was
only
like
difference is she was real.
so this was like during the time of Atlantis, and there was some kind of battle, perhaps, when
um,
Perseus was a general.
this was late late Atlantis. This around just before the second to last time it sank. There were 7 times Atlantis sank.
Okay. All right. Um, so do you think walk-ins are real?
No, they have walk-in closets, but they don't have walk-in people.
All right. Well,
I tried it. There's no room.
what about like a twin braided soul where two souls can kind of intermingle in the same body?
No, because it doesn't work. The soul energy, two souls can't come together and become one. That's like in the body, the core energy, the dual core energy, two spirits. They talk about a kundalini, the two snakes that go up through the spine. That's that's the two spirits. About 40% of that energy is spirit from the planet Gaia. It's actual spirit, sentient energy, and then the other 60% is the visiting spirit, which is most of what we are.
Well, what about like say one soul leaving the body, another soul coming in?
Nope, it's not allowed. It doesn't happen. Now, what does happen if someone is 27% negative or more, and a negative soul that's not in the body comes by and says, "I want to go in there," and then that soul, if it wants, can actually say, "Yeah, okay," and then literally the soul that was given the body to have a life in floats just above and just below the skin, and this other thing goes inside the core energy and starts running it. And that, believe it or not, that's when you call in the wonderful, powerful priest for an exorcism.
No.
See, he reads the spirit stuff out of the Bible, and it's like putting them to sleep and boring them, so they leave. I can't take it. I'm going.
So what about cloned people? Can they put a soul inside a clone?
No, the only thing that now
What if? Oh,
nobody can put spirit inside a body except for source on the other side. That's the only thing that's able to do that. Number one. Number two, there is one thing that does happen when something is really when there's a body that has a negative soul in it. It had been allowed in the past for that soul to be pushed out of the body, and that's when you get like what we call shells and stuff. I've met them. I know a few of them. They're really sad that you see the people and they function just more like an insect, more like a fish, something that doesn't actually have the visiting spirit inside it. But it was only allowed to happen when something was really negative.
so the soul actually left the body, and they're just a
So
shell.
actually, the Anunnaki have a machine where they actually push it out, not all the time, but often, and they get a perfect drone type of slave. Just doesn't do a whole lot. It's just the energy of the planet in there.
Well, can the same technology take the soul out of one body and transfer
Nope.
into a clone of the same person?
Nope, not allowed.
Okay. Can you explain the difference between arrogance and negativity?
Yeah, when something's negative, it's just got a negative attitude about it. It's the frequency. It's a lower pulse width, and it's longer. Um, when something's negative, it doesn't want to be happy. That's all. The chances are they're more aggressive than the positive ones. But arrogance itself, that's an attitude of better than, and it's not a real concept, but it does exist. So I guess that makes it real. It takes zero negativity for something to be or become arrogant. Zero. And that's why it's such a problem.
Okay. Would you want to take a moment now to talk a little bit about Stephen? Because I know he's mentioned a few things about the Serpoians down in McGuire Air Force Base.
Yeah. Stephen Lewandowski. Stephen's cool as hell. He's the second strongest telepath you're going to find on the planet. He has been attacked by source energy, the original male and female, first being, everyone else over there. He's been abused so hard because he's one of the people that can actually see what's going on and tell other people. So he had to be shut up. Uh, 2 months from now, he's going to be perfectly free of all that, and he's going to come out shining just like a star. He's really cool. He just needs to be left alone so he can see what's going on. He's been hammered by a bunch of NSA, by Anunnaki, all in trip chairs.
Do you know about these 25 reptilian girls? You know what that's about?
I know a lot more than 25.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah.
okay, then I
Yeah.
I'll have to get more information about that.
What was no? That's someone's thought process.
All right. Well, he wanted to know if reptilians find humans sexually attractive, or good-looking, or desirable.
Honestly, that's a personal thing.
Okay.
The reptilians have always found that humans attractive. You know, I guess the others probably true. Maybe not even 20% of the time.
Well, it may not be the case with, say, like a Dracos, because the Dracos view themselves as the
Yeah,
most
it
evolved.
depends on the person. You know, there's the Adamic race got sent down here 5 times. The first time was because there were beings down here, half animal and half human, and they were mating with the humans. That's not allowed.
Okay. Can Greys play music?
I'm sure they can hum, but it probably sounds weird as hell.
Okay.
Actually, they do. They make a lot of funny sounds.
Can you explain how Tyr
Yeah,
Raw-Tear
Raw-Tear,
is
yeah.
involved with the Anunnaki ambassador and Confederation ships?
Tyr is he's involved with a group, his own people. He's something of an ambassador himself, but he's not an actual ambassador. He's been helping us forever, it seems. The Anunnaki ambassador, like him, is part of this confederation I talk about. They don't see each other a lot. They don't do a lot of work together because they're busy doing separate things. But they do work together. Yeah.
Do you think that aliens watch these interviews?
Well, they used to, and now they came out with a new show. This guy, yeah, it's wrestling. Yes, WWF. Actually, though, they do. Believe it or not, there's a space station in between Jupiter and Saturn, but closer to Jupiter most of the time. They listen to all your stuff all the time. They listen to mine. They actually have it translated. You know, when they hear it. I mean, the technology that's waiting for us, as soon as a few key changes get made, is incredible. Sickness. It's crazy.
Is copies of your book available on the space station?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I might have mentioned it in book 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell people about your book?
Yeah. There's 2 books to put out. The first one is the creation, its beginning, and your origin, and that's about how everything came to be. Where the first being come from? You know, how did that happen? What's going on? Even what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's just as simple as breathing. But that tells you about all different beings, how they came to be, and how they started to relate, and who they are. It gives you the basic format for the big book that comes out. So the first book's 134 pages. The second book is 412 pages, and it really should have been about 600. Excuse me. And it takes you all the way from the very beginning of creation to where you are today and what's going to happen in the future, as well as dealing with people that are naysayers for the fact that everyone has metaphysical abilities, and how to actually talk to stone and feel it. It explains a lot.
Okay. And what is your website?
Website is jaysx.com, and there's also spiritualsymposiums.com, and Michelle there will be happy to talk to anyone about it.
Are you still doing readings or something?
Oh, consultations. No, there's a couple more I'm still going to do. I'm going to knock out a few tomorrow, and then I'm sure one or two are going to pop up. But that's about it, because I got to go. I got to get this body. People don't understand that these bodies are such a simple thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of respect for it. I've even said publicly a few times it's like a sacred moment. When part of the spirit of the planet and your own personal spirit mixed with the pieces of a body that come from a planet to actually have a life. But I got to get out of this thing and get to work doing what needs to happen. People are spending most of the time out of a body. It's like 5 days a week during the week from Monday to Friday. You're your normal self, and then Saturday morning you zip up a little wetsuit, then you take off a couple of days, and then you unzip it, and then go back to your regular life. It's no big thing, really.
Well, what would you like to see for other Source family members?
I want to see peace and happiness, and fresh shoes for everyone. No, just kidding. Say what? Good things are going to happen for people. There's still going to be strife because that's normal, but the incredible abuse that's going on and has been going on forever is about to stop. There's going to be when we get rid of the Anunnaki that actually run the planet. Excuse me. You're going to find out the insurance drops down through the roof. The interest rates for your homes, medical costs, everything's going to go down. What percent? I can't tell you. It's going to vary. But the idea is to start, destroying what's actually sucking up every penny we make. It's like when you buy a nice $250,000 house, and by the time you pay it off, it's like, okay, I thought that was $850,000. What? It's like who got all my money? Well. So that stuff's going to start going.
Bankers in London or
Rome?
Yeah,
Anunnaki get all kinds of money.
But you said you killed the guy that was getting the money.
Oh, there's three guys, the three top human bodies that had a high amounts of royal Anunnaki blood in them. The number one dude I called Lloyds of London. I used to go over his house and literally start moving stuff around all the time. Then there's a guy in New York and a guy in California. All three of those are dead. So it's like when I go into people's brains and help them and work on them, that it's the same kind of thing, going in there helping them. But yeah, these guys don't need help.
Now, you mentioned earlier that the House of the Anunnaki in California was trying to bring about positive change, and that's the reason why HAARP was got some kind of grid over there causing a drought. Is there any truth to that?
I didn't say that the California bunch was trying to make good change.
Well, was it the group in San Francisco, perhaps?
In San Francisco is where, and this is common knowledge, or I would never say it, this part of an actual Anunnaki resistance force. Easy for me to say. There's San Francisco, then there's Water Bay or something, and then the land. That's where this barrier is. And yeah, they've been here fighting for forever.
Okay, so I guess as far as techniques, maybe that's best left confidential.
Honestly, I couldn't really tell you. I know they have energy barriers, literally. I've been involved in that, but it's usually covert, trying to undo what each other are doing. But there's so many prisoners out of here from other, I was going to say countries, from other planets. It's time for them to go home. It's time for all this crazy crap to stop.
Well, do you see the United States dollar crashing, and perhaps maybe the IRS income
I think
tax
it's going to
going
increase
out?
in value, and it's going to have a big reptilian face with a tongue coming out and say, "In Anunnaki we trust." No, or "Don't get scaly with me," or something like that. I don't know. They talked to me about putting together the dollar bill for them. No.
But they wanted to give you half the planet's
Yeah,
assets.
no, that was funny. It's a seventh of the planet. I'll never forget that. It's hard for most people, especially the normal person that's not awake, to understand much of anything to talk about. I both understand and respect that. But just because you can see something and you know it, and other people can't, that's not a reason not to talk about it, especially when it's your job to talk about it, and do something about it. There's more going on than people understand, but as the things that have been ruining everyone's lives from the very beginning have been taken out and their influence is removed altogether, then things can start healing. And that's what's going to start happening. And it takes a little bit of time, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And that's all literally in these 2 books, especially the second book, but you really need the first book. It's like a key or a legend to what's going on, who's on a playing field, a map to get somewhere. You have to know the basics.
So will we see aliens in 2018?
Yeah,
perhaps
we're
around
alien
then?
to them. It's like, why do the bodies look different from one place to another? Well, the bodies come from the planet. Over here on Earth, we have a good oxygen, nitrogen, oxygen atmosphere and everything else. And then you might go to another planet where they have methane or something like that. When those bodies originally came from that planet, they were made from the planet itself. So that's why the bodies are made to live on that planet. And then you take them over here to the Earth, and they have a hard time breathing on our oxygen, or you send us over to their planet, and yeah, we have a hard time breathing methane.
Well, even like some say the Greys are wearing a suit. It's a skin-tight suit, but it's also giving them protection from the atmosphere.
No, they're not. That's their
viruses.
skin. They have almost no atmosphere. They've actually, on the planet Serpo, in the 2 suns, they've had a lot of problems, having made mistakes and haven't paid for it. That's one reason they're so anxious to help us. Another reason why they love the floor. Now, some smaller Andromedians and other folks have little spacesuits, spacesuits that make them look like little gray Serpoians running around. They have the large eyes and everything else. So that's the only time that's going to happen. But remember, there's so many different beings and so many different shapes and sizes. There's some type of, it's like a Serpoian, but it's not. They're smaller. And lots of times they're actually touching on 4s as much as they are like hands and legs, than just standing upright.
Is that what Raw-Tear-Eir
No,
looks like?
he's antid. He stands up straight and tall. But remember, I said he's like 8'1", 8'4", depending on how he stands. Greg Braden, he has a ton of Andromedian DNA in him. He's a really cool guy. So he helps people understand that heart is incredibly powerful. The heart is definitely able to do all kinds of things. It puts forth a certain tone of language. Hearts are talking with each other all the time. Those people that want to pray or something, how do I give thanks? The fact that they have that feeling in their heart, they are giving thanks. But the problem is where it goes. You don't want to thank the plumber for your Volkswagen Beetle to be running right. I mean, not unless he fixed it. So.
Well, I know like Alex Collier, who's also had contacts with the Andromedans, he said that the Andromedans many of them wanted to give up on humanity because they thought we were just a lost cause. Has that mentality changed, do you believe?
Most of what happens with him, he's sitting in a chair and he's, relaxing, what he would call meditating, and he's just getting a little information and trying to see more and just kind of putting together something.
So the Andromedans are active in the, I guess.
They're really active. As a matter of fact, this one group, I talked about the Andromedians for the most part. They're very laid back, and they want to use their heart to send out a message and feel it. Well, that's cool. But like the Pleiadians, most of the Pleiadians, they put out that heart message, saying they really want something to say, okay, we're done. Now let's go kick some ass. They actually get aggressively involved in doing something. But every time I go saying that, there's literally a group, it's one planet, of some Andromedians that are just a little taller, and these guys are aggressive. Remember, we're talking about a galaxy, Andromedian galaxy. That's huge. All these stars in it with how many planets,
So would you consider them a little bit naive? Because I know you mentioned that people that had a strong heart connection generally view other people as a strong heart connection. They don't understand people that can be negative. Does that make sense?
Come again, please?
Well, people that have a strong heart connection don't understand people that are negative because they think everybody else has a strong heart connection.
Yeah, it's like a football player and a baseball player are having some issues trying to understand what a sport is. They're doing things differently. When something's negative, it doesn't have a lot of heart energy. When you have heart energy, usually it doesn't have too much negativity. That being said, there's one gentleman that's a negative source spirit that hangs around where Haim, that old Powers angel, one of the first original angels, hangs out off of Satellite Boulevard and Peachtree, Pleasant Hill in Gwinnett, Georgia. Um, and he's 47% negative, but he's got a lot of heart energy, and screamed at me one time, gave me a hard time, and blah, blah, blah. Looked at me and said, you know what? I know who you are and you don't. I love you, man. Just chill out, you know. And he and I actually get along now. I was surprised to see that much heart energy in someone so negative, but we're all different.
Okay. When do you think, if you don't know this answer, that's fine. But when do you think the dollar may crash or implode or?
I don't know. It's going to be early in the year, whenever it happens.
Okay. Is there some kind of stock? I know you're a psychic. Is there a stock we could perhaps buy? This is actually a joke question. But
Anytime you buy a stock, you're buying stock in the Anunnaki. The IRS is the Anunnaki. Rothschilds, Kennedys.
So, do you have any recommendations how people could? Where they could
leave
put their
that
money?
crap alone. Yeah, I watched my father make a lot of money in it, and then I saw him lose $437,000, and it killed him. I just looked at him and I said, "Why?"
Well, how about
it's like, why do you do this?
How about they invest in your foundation that you're trying to set up?
No, that won't happen. As a matter of fact, I was talking with Michelle about that earlier, and she'll know better. Besides, as soon as I'm out of here, I'll be talking with anyone anyway. Everyone anyway. But if someone comes up and says they want to put up $1 million, it won't be accepted. Money's a tool, and somebody nasty puts out a tool. No thanks. Don't want it, because when someone gives you money, that gives them the right to say that they gave you the money, and you don't want to have, issues with that.
Now, you also mentioned that I was in this base, perhaps in it was like I guess under the ocean.
That was right before they made you Hitler. No, I'm gonna kid.
Was that have to do with
it was you were there when they came to get you. They were talking with you a lot when you were like semi-awake for years, especially when you were a kid, and because you had a good rapport, they didn't even knock you out when they came and got you, and they took you. It was around the Bahamas, somewhere around there, Mediterranean or something. I don't know. It was that nice clean water. I really can't see the location on it, but I know it doesn't matter. And this is a nice place. They're good people, and I need not to, give away the location if I had it. So I'm just literally keep myself from actually getting it. But at the same time, you had a good time. You were running around there. You gave up your DNA trying to help folk. Tyr has been in and out of there.
Well, do you think I might? Because I don't recall any of that. Was I frightened?
No. When you came back, you just got wiped. Your mind, immediate memories were wiped. It's just like that MIB thing.
Well, do you think these memories will ever come back if they've been wiped?
I don't know how much you're willing to pay for that. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're made not to. Can they possibly? Yeah. The human brain is a crazy thing, and it could be manipulated by strong energy on the other side. So
yeah, well, many Milabs have had similar experiences where their memories have been wiped. They're getting needle marks and cut marks. What kind of advice would you have for these individuals if they wanted to recall what was being done to them?
Well, it happens when they sleep. I would say don't go to sleep. That's why I look like this. I'm waiting for them to come back.
I had one individual. He actually tied himself to his bedpost, with a piece of string, and it was cut with a laser. You would think they would untie it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, there's something wrong there. I'm not seeing any rope being cut.
Okay, all right. Well,
yeah.
I'll take your word for that. Okay, well, is there any other final comments you would like to make? Something else you would like to...
Yes, do not let Cracker Jacks disappear. It's an awesome snack. It's not, no, honestly, as I pollute everyone with my bad jokes. The whole concept behind that is try to find some laughter, try to find some joy of your own in the life that you live in, but at the same time be serious about becoming more of yourself. Just relax. And I don't like the word meditate because it goes right into the guru or somebody's supposed to teach you all this wonderful stuff. It's all natural. It's just getting in a quiet spot, relaxing, natural but slightly deeper breaths. Calm your body down, calm your mind down. Take the 2 pins out in your brain that just releases your conscious mind. Let your conscious mind float above and just run all at once. Just keep going about nothing. And the rest of you just relax. Flow into yourself. Feel yourself. Find out who you are inside. Next thing you know, you're talking with your spirit guides. You can do incredible things, astral project places. Once you find out who you are and you're able to move around like that, then you can look around. You can see what's real, what really exists. And then you find out, number one, you're cool as hell. Number two, you have a huge family you weren't even aware of. And number three, you've been lied to all your life. And it's not just, you can't blame it on your parents. They were lied to. Their parents were lied to. Their parents were lied to. It all started by the original first being on the other side, male and female. And then just, they're gone. All the other problems are gone. Almost all of it. Over 97% of all the issues on the other side have been handled. So it'll get cleaned up. But in the meantime, it's everyone's responsibility, if they want to do that for themselves, it's just to relax and flow down inside themselves. And they're going to have a lot of help. If they want to, they're going to be able to, period.
Well, do you think the government will ever apologize to all these people who've been Milabs and
Yes,
MK?
and you know what else they're going to do? They're going to send me $1 million. They told me they love me. I mean, they all say it, every president, and I've seen a lot of them. So I figured the check's in the mail. That's what they always say. But then you get the check and it won't cash anyway. It's like, what the hell, Why did you waste the money in the postage? We own the post office. Oh, okay.
So this will probably be like one of the things where the Catholic Church apologized for killing Joan of Arc 500 years later.
Wow. Yeah,
wait.
thanks for reminding me about that.
Well,
Not one of my better lives,
You remember?
I could have used a lot of makeup, too. I was homely.
Well, why don't you tell the story about Joan of Arc?
Joan of Arc, when I was Joan of Arc, literally, my arms were bigger than they are now, man. I was just, ridiculous. They talk about, such a saintly religious person. Yeah, right. Literally, I remember one part of my life, I was in a pub, and we had, there's grass, that long yellowish grass on a roof. There was candles inside for light, some lanterns, some actual holes in the wall. And some guy came in, and he was a trapper, and that really pissed me off. And then he was talking with the barkeep and said he was going to bed me or something like that. And I overheard it and didn't care much for it. And he came over and started bothering me. And the third time he went to get near me, I literally broke his arm backwards, and a bone popped out and everything. And I just laughed and walked off. Wasn't too nice as Joan. Tomoe Gozen was another one of my female lives. I do not do good in the female body. Have all the respect for them, appreciate them, love them, but you know what? It just ain't me. I was running around fighting everything, samurai. But I knew too much. I was able to do too much, and everyone was afraid of me. So it was like, okay, we use this tool. We can't hang it up in a shed. Let's kill it. So it's kind of, everyone's had lives in all the different bodies, different colors, skin races, male, female, heterosexual, homosexual. We've all tried it all just to understand and have a little strife. It's just been too hard for too long.
So there's really no room for racism on this planet.
No, when you've had lives in all the bodies, it's, racism is kind of stupid. It's like what I was saying earlier tonight at or a little get together about this one gentleman that was white, and he was talking about he had such an issue with Asian people, and then I told him, where there's this mirror, full length mirror, when he walks in the door, he goes, yeah, it's right there, and I told him, stay away from it, you wouldn't believe what's in there. He's like, oh, freaking out, and I said, it's you, and he goes, huh, you've had 17 lives as an Asian individual. And he was like, Jay won't lie to me. It's like, what's up? And I explained it to him. And then if people know that it does really, it's the best reason in the world to not be prejudiced.
Or even like say like a fundamentalist Christian who finds out they had a past life in pre-Christian Europe. And they just don't
Or
fight.
as a Muslim.
Or
The great sin. There's this God and there's that God. When I was involved in a Christian church when I was a kid and I was forced into it, and I was having this issue. It's just trying to figure out how the perfect, all-loving, all-forgiving God created hell to abuse you and torture you forever. It's like, I can't figure this out. Okay, I'm pretty good with this stuff. Really good with math. Okay, I can fix stuff, but I can't figure this out. Didn't make any sense, and other stuff. They've rewritten the Bible 1,700 times, and you know what? You can do it all you want, but fertilizer is fertilizer. Religions are like that. There's a lot of wonderful religious people with a lot of love in their hearts, but religions, they got issues.
Well, I mean, what do you think about, like, say, the Pope? Maybe the first Pope and...
The Pope?
Yeah.
This new Pope is a ninny, okay? The one before him, Benedict XVI, it's just, I swear, Benedict. It reminds me of Benedict Arnold. The guy was a schmuck, 87% negative soul, reptilian as hell, 58% reptilian, big problem. This new guy is slicker, but he's still a problem. First Pope, reptilian is all get out, 87% negative soul also. I think he was the one who's involved in the Crusades. It's like, we have our religion, those guys got a religion, it ain't our religion. We're going to sail across the ocean. We're going to go over there, we're going to knock on their door and say, you come out, you do our religion, or we're going to have to kill you. Because our loving God said, you got to die. What? It doesn't make any sense when you look at it. You just have to have an open mind about it and just listen.
Well, hasn't, like, the Pope come out and said that there's extraterrestrial life forms out there? I mean, surely Catholic Church is making some...
They come out, they can breathe, too. I mean, it's like everyone's pretty much accepted the fact that, yeah, there's got to be life out there. There's so many planets out everywhere. We're starting to actually look at some of them now, and it's like, yeah, there's no other life anywhere. Why is that? We are God's chosen people. He wouldn't let it happen. He wouldn't let there be aliens. And I'm like, wow. Here, let me buy you another drink. Go to sleep.
Well, why do you think the Catholic Church owns so many telescopes around the world? Like the really advanced ones.
I have to want to trust the Catholic people, the religion, because they never lie. They're more powerful and stronger than anything that exists. That's why they make saints. They say, yeah, you're cool, but you're cool because we made you a saint. When you pray to their all-loving, all-forgiving God, you got to get on your knees. So that's good, or they smack you. It's a...
And you said you were Saint Francis?
Yeah, the animal dude, the second, the number 2 focal point of Eir, what I am, was Saint Francis.
Was he really able to communicate with animals?
Yeah, but not quite like they're making it out. There was a wolf. It was a female. It had pups. It was trying to eat, and she was having a hard time, and she had some issues, and she was tearing stuff up, trying to stay alive and feed her kids, her pups. And I saw it and I fed it and gave it some love, and then that just started the whole thing. But so many people today with love in their hearts, they just send it out and animals come in. Emily Giglio, she's incredible. She just sits there and animals come out there. They don't even know why. They just come out there. Deer come out there and everything. She's like, yo, what you doing? She goes, you talking like Jay, we're out here. No, but seriously, they do. They actually come out. She's like about 97% of Lily's energy.
Well, is there a way that we could go outside and ask the ETs to come and visit us? Would they be...
Well, they have their own agenda. When I say that, they're here for a reason. They're not allowed to give up who they are, where they are, what's going on. and hopefully 2018 is when it's going to happen. It's for the most part, it's up to them. But if they wait long enough, it's going to be made to happen.
Yeah, so like say by maybe 2030, UFOs and aliens be pretty common.
Oh yeah,
Would
yeah.
people be interacting with them?
About 2025, starships go overhead, and you're like, this is this group, and what are you, dumb? That's not them, it's the other guys. A lot of people will be noticing what's going on, and it's a simple thing.
So will people be able to publicly interact with these beings?
Yeah, that's gonna be slow at first.
But won't the Men in Black try to stop that?
NSA, one of the groups, they're trying to control everything now anyway, but they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, so that's why
that's going to be taken out of the hands, and it's going to go public, and the government will be kept out of it until they're finally destroyed.
So that's why maybe we'll get free energy technology and some
it's
replicator.
Not totally free, but it almost is.
So you mean probably the cost, maybe just to build the underlying equipment?
Cost would be about 10% of what we pay now.
Oh, okay.
For utilities.
So maybe then we can green our deserts by building.
And take back our food chain here.
With
so we can grow our own. Yeah. That guy's the company's got issues. They make so much money. They just got fined. It was like $500,000 or something. Actually, I think it's like $600 and something $1,000 for tearing up some land and violating, polluting it, and just destroying the land. Who cares about that much when they've made 10 times that? They don't care. It's like these guys that take radioactive waste, throw it in the ocean. Every time they do it, they get away with it, I don't know, 9 out of 10 times. And when they do get caught, the fee is so little, they're ready to go out and do it again.
But how do we bring about change if the corporate head, the leaders within Monsanto's are going directly into the FDA and other government agencies?
It's going to get changed on the other side. When you can control a person's mind, when you control every person's mind,
so
change
that's what's
happens.
going on. People are being totally manipulated.
That's been going on in everyone's life. Ever since the very beginning. There's been a lot of manipulation, but
wow.
What's going to happen is removing it and see where it goes from there.
Okay, well, I'm ready.
There's a lot of good people with good heart, Things are going to change. It'll get better. It just has to take a little time.
Yeah, I think almost everybody's watching this is ready for that to happen. Well, let's see it happen.
Everybody is, Good people, good heart. It's time. It's overdue.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay. I suppose this might be our last interview. I don't know.
No, I'm sure we'll have another one.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to nod out.
Okay.
No, and it was so easy at 19, staying up all night. I don't know.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Normal just scares me. I can't do that. Vote for anybody but me. I'm going to screw you. A realistic politician. No, they don't exist. No such thing.